To create a single player game and no one survived, once you're in the main menu, you're going to select single player. You'll pick your character, hit confirm, and then you have the option to load a game or create a new game. So we're going to create a new game. We're going to go over the settings. There's two things that you can't change once you start your world, once you hit confirm and load in. That's going to be your save name and your map selection. So map 1 is going to be the large map. It's the newer one that they came out with in 2023. Or map 2, which is a smaller map. It's 1/4 of the size. It's the original map that came out with the game at the beginning of 2023. So we'll do test world 1 just for an example. Difficulty level, if you select beginner, catastrophe, or hardcore, this is going to change how difficult in order. Below settings are going to be beginner, default settings, pretty standard, catastrophe. You can see the numbers change down here. It changed the strength of the zombies, how many. If you pick hardcore, it's going to change some of the other settings. Zombie strength, zombie spawn number, virus death rate, sprinters. It's going to check the permadeath box and change the loot distribution to rare and the loot respawn to 0. So if we just stick with the beginner difficulty level, the default settings, that leaves us with map 01 or map 02 choice. I normally play map 01. You have starter kit next. So if you check this box, your character default will come with 9 steel arrows, a pot to cook water in, 2 small bottles of water, 2 cans of food, 2 batteries to charge your shoulder light with, some medical items. You'll also get some weapons and some tools. So you'll come with a metal bow, a steel spear, a 44 mag Desert Eagle pistol, a iron dagger, a building hammer, and a steel axe. If you, in your character creation, select any traits, attributes, professions that add items to you when you start the game, then those will also be in your starter kit. For example, if you pick police officer as your profession, then you're going to start with police clothing versus the default starter clothing, which is just a simple tank top, a simple pair of pants, some leather shoes, and a camo military backpack. Special zombies, this one, if you're just starting out, this is a setting that you can change while you're in game, so you can keep it checked and check out the special zombies in game, determine whether or not you like them, turn them off, turn them on while you're in game, and save the settings just like that. Special zombies include, so I don't know if these are the official names, but this is what the community calls them. We have a spitter, a blow up guy, a crawler, a BFZ, and then we have zombie dogs. Zombie wave attack, this is your horde night settings. So if you check this box, you can change how many days between each horde night, and your zombie wave multiplier is going to change how many waves. So it's like the number of zombies. The higher the number, the more zombies and more waves you're going to get during your horde night. So this isn't checked by default, so that's up to you whether or not you want to do horde nights. The one thing to be aware of is if you have it set to any amount of days, they don't wait for you to get to your horde base. They're going to spawn in on that day. It will show up. The day will be red at the top right corner of your screen. They will spawn in where you are. And they will spawn in at 1900 hours on that day. So 7 p.m. on the horde night day, they will spawn in wherever you are. So you just have to make sure you're paying attention to your days and know when your horde night is. The next item on the list is zombie strength. So we have weak, average, strong, and very strong. And these have very different levels. I give you example, the regular everyday average zombie that you're going to encounter in game, if they are weak, then you could get away with 1 or 2 headshots, with the lowest tiered weapon in the game, which I would say is probably a wooden spear. You could stab them twice with that and that will kill them, versus strong or very strong is going to be the whole durability of that wooden spear and maybe some more to kill that zombie. So starting out, I would maybe go weak and then adjust that one in-game as you get used to the zombies and see how difficult or easy it is for you to kill them. For zombie spawn number, default's 0.5, and then you have 1, 2, and 3. It's exactly what you think it is. It just changes how many zombies spawn in at POIs. There's a set number for each POI, and it just multiplies that. Sprinters, this is going to change, just like these two, honestly. This one will really change your Horde Nights, and it will change a lot of your experiences at POIs. If you have sprinters, and you go into a POI, you start searching, you start killing zombies, they can call each other, and noise will startle them, so you could have every zombie in that POI or in the radius that you see run at you, which is very overwhelming. So if you're just starting out, you maybe want to keep that lower. Virus death rate, so if we hover over this, it says the amount of antibodies lost each time when infected. Infections have changed since they updated the medical system. You used to get infections pretty easily when you had lost your armor and you were scratched by zombies a lot. If you had low scratch resistance or no armor, you would have a really high chance of getting an infection even when this was lower. The devs have lowered how likely it is for you to get an infection at this point. So this slider isn't as extreme from left to right as it used to be, but some of the medical items that you need to cure an infection can be rare depending on some of these other settings that you choose down here. But the next one on the list is your year duration. So that's how many days in a year. So if we do 20, then each season's going to be 5 days. If we do 40, then each season is 10 days. If we do 80, each season is 20 days. So you have spring, summer, fall, or autumn, and winter. So if you don't like playing in very hot temperatures or mitigating cold temperatures, then maybe go with 360 days. That way you can have your first 90 days be all spring. The next one is how many real life minutes is 1 day in game. So lowest you could pick is 45, the highest is 120, and then you also have 90. The next one, permadeath, resets all skills. So not only will you lose all of your skills like agriculture, cooking, tailoring, medicine, conditioning, dexterity, etc., you'll also lose everything that you unlocked in your tech tree. So it really means everything. It also resets the number that shows in your stats at the top of your skills. It'll show you how many zombies you killed. When you die, even if you don't have permadeath checked, that resets to 0. The next item is loot distribution. So rare, normal, abundant, and very abundant. Rare means rare. It's going to be a lot of empty boxes. And the loot containers that do have items in them, it's going to be pretty scarce. So this is more of a hardcore setting. If you really like a challenge, you like to, grow your food, do, real survival where you're doing a lot of mining, a lot of tree chopping, you're getting everything that you're getting, you're basically crafting yourself. Normal and abundant isn't very different from each other, really. They're both pretty average. Very abundant is pretty nice. You're still going to have a lot of empty boxes, but when you find that one loot container that does have loot in it, it's going to be pretty full. You're not going to have any issues finding whatever you need to craft as you go through your playthrough. The next item is loot respawn interval. So that's how many days between searching the container to going back to the container to get new loot that you have to wait. So if I have this set to 20, I loot a farm on day 11, I have to go back on day 32, and that loot container will respawn loot for me. The next item is merchant restock interval. So the traders, you have 2, 5, 10, 20, and 40 days that you can pick for the interval. Merchants will have items, we'll say we pick 5. Merchants will have the same items from day 0 through 5. They'll have different items 6 through 10, etc. They're never going to continuously grow their inventory. They're always just going to respawn new items. It's a restock. It's new items each time. I mean, there might be some repeats, but for the most part, if that one blueprint trader had the machining table, but you didn't have enough to get that machining table blueprint from him when you went there on day 5, he might not have it on day 6. So just beware of something like that. And I've never messed with this PvP option too much. I've tested it, and the only thing that I can really tell the difference is when you check this box is your multiplayer game or your solo game, whatever when you have this checked, you can't build NPC buildings. This doesn't turn off friendly fire, it doesn't turn on friendly fire. That's not its intention, because No One Survived is not necessarily meant to be like a MMO PvP game. It's meant to be PvE. It's only just going to negate the ability to build the NPC buildings. So once we have everything how we want it in this list, you can start your game by hitting confirm. And like I said, you could change a lot of these settings after you start game, except for your save name and your map selection. So all that's left to do is to hit confirm and to start game.